Yo, what is up, guys? It's your boy Ken. Um, you got some big breaking news here from AEW. I know this news was announced like maybe 3 hours ago, so pretty much almost everybody has talked about it. But I was in a job interview earlier today when the news was announced. So I'm reporting it to you here a little bit late, but it's about 3 o'clock my time, Chicago time. Anyways, AEW just had a breaking announcement, and most of all, Tony Khan, that AEW Dynamite will be moving from TNT to its sister station, TBS. Also, it was announced that AEW's second show that everyone had been, I wouldn't say it's been rumored, but we all knew AEW was going to have a second show, but we just didn't know when and where it was going to happen. But they're having a second show, a 1-hour program called AEW Rampage, which will debut this August in 2021. And then that they're going to have, TNT wants to have 4 promotional pro wrestling shows quarterly throughout the rest of the remainder of the year, leading up to the big switch of Dynamite and the new show, Rampage, going over to TBS. This is pretty big. I know a lot of people have more questions than answers. Is this a good thing for TBS? Is TBS good as TNT? Because I think in most wrestling fans' minds, when we think of TNT, we think TNT is primetime television. It is primetime. And so you think, WCW Nitro was on there. You think the NBA game playoffs were always on TNT. TNT, just from a casual, maybe like TV goer, you would think it's a big marquee time prime network station channel, and it is. So is TBS. Now, I did a little research on my end, and it looks like TBS actually has more, can reach more people in their homes than TNT. That TBS has or reaches 1 million more homes than TNT, which I thought was pretty interesting. And apparently they do play some playoff games as well on TBS. Now, the other thing to think about here is that if anyone's followed or cared to followed, we do know that TNT was working out a deal with the NHL to have hockey play on their network, and Wednesday night looks like it was going to be the day. And so everyone had kind of already thought that, how's that going to work out for Dynamite if they're going to be preempted, during hockey season on a Wednesday night. Tony Khan came out and said, hey, look, Wednesday nights is our day. I would be open to moving to another day, but only if the money is right for AEW. Well, they're not moving to another night, but they're just moving to another station. I don't know if they have a new contract in play. Obviously, this is still within their current contract that they had when they signed the 3-year deal with TNT. So their contract with TNT, I don't think isn't renegotiated, I think, until 2023. So they got about another good year and some change left on their current TV deal. So I don't think they started a new deal. I think this is same deal. Are they going to be offered more money for the second show? I don't know. And look, let's just say it like this here. In terms of the second show, Rampage, what we do know is TNT wanted that. Tony Khan didn't mention anything about a second show. TNT wanted a second show to air on their program, and a part of their new deal that they had, their extension TV deal for 3 years, was that AEW would provide a second wrestling show. So that was TNT's call. So we do know, so going into 2022, well, we're going to get the debut of Rampage. That's going to happen. It's going to be a 1-hour show. It's going to air on Fridays, by the way. Friday nights at 10 p.m. So I guess some wrestling fans may consider Friday nights to be the new wrestling Friday Night War. I guess. I don't know. But for it to be a 1 hour show, if they air it after SmackDown, that'd be a good choice. I think if they put it competing right directly with SmackDown on Fox, that'd be detrimental for that brand new 1 hour show. But yeah, if they can get it, after SmackDown and have those fans kind of migrate over, I think that'd be a good thing. And then going into 2022, TBS is going to be the new home for AEW Dynamite and its second show, Rampage. I don't know. I don't know how this works. I mean, you could say that maybe with TBS they won't be preempted to going on different day or different night like they have been for quite a few shows on TNT. In fact, I think their go home show and then their post pay-per-view show for Double or Nothing, both of those are going to be preempted. I think one of them's going to air on like Thursday and the other one's going to air on like Saturday or something like that, which is kind of funky. So if they can move to TBS and have a solid night on that network, hey, go for it. My biggest question is, how would that affect the ratings? If they market it well, they really got to market this well, or otherwise it could blow up in their face. Can they market it really well to go from TNT to TBS? Since TBS can reach more, has more reach in terms of more reach in homes than the TNT channel, more people have access to TBS than TNT. Does that extra million in viewership, does that play into account for Dynamite? Can that help boost the ratings for Dynamite going to a new station? It's all still part of TNT, but it's the sister network, the sister station. Another thing, I think a lot of people aren't looking at this. So a lot of people are thinking that Dynamite moving to TBS is going to be preempted due to what's going on with NHL. And that may be true. But looking on a bigger scale here, Warner Media, Warner Bros., Warner Media, has just been sold to Discovery. For those of you who may not know, because I like, comic books and stuff like that, so I kind of follow stuff like this. And you may say, well, what does that have to do with TNT and all of that jazz? Like I said, it was just announced Monday that AT&T, the cellular company that owned Warner Media, who owns TNT and TBS, they're all part of Warner Media, has just been sold to Discovery. Now, we probably won't see any ramifications of this new merger between Warner Media working with Discovery, probably for like another year or two. But that's just also something to kind of think about too, that maybe whatever partnerships or dealings that Discovery would have now that they now own Warner, which TNT and TBS fall under Warner Media, how that would trickle down to AEW Dynamite. So I don't think that probably would have much of a big impact on Dynamite. It's to move into TBS. I do think it is the hockey, but that's something else too that I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't, just playing devil's advocate. I wouldn't void out of being on a playing card on the table. Is that Warner Media just recently being purchased as of yesterday to Discovery, or not yesterday, Monday, to Discovery, that that might be a small change in new management coming in from the very, very, very top. So it's interesting. This is big news. I hope they do well. Like I said, it's interesting because TBS, when you think TNT, you think NBA, you think big action movies that they play on cable and stuff. TBS, I know of it, but I don't know what all they air on there, except for like some drama shows. And they do play some games on there too. But I'm just thinking for the average consumer, the average TV viewer, what's their thought process when they think of TBS? Would you think Dynamite? And Dynamite's been with TNT for like almost 2 years, so it's kind of like synonymous with that network, and for you to like kind of uproot it, even though it's a sister station and it's still under Turner Media, for them to uplift it and just move to the sister station, I don't know. I hope it works out. It's definitely not bad news for sure, but it's definitely a wait and see approach. See how things look. Definitely looking forward to the second show, Rampage. They got to make the second show look different and feel different from Dynamite. It should not feel Bush League. It should not feel like a developmental. Even though you could probably say that that will be morally used for younger talent that don't get the spotlight in Dynamite. Rampage definitely should not feel like it should feel like a second show, an extension of Dynamite, not a developmental brand, or not like Elevation or Dark, which are, to me, those two things are basically the same. I really don't get what's the difference between AEW Dark and then Elevation. It needs to feel different from all of those three things. Dark and Elevation especially. If Rampage is like Dark and Elevation just slapped on TV in a 1 hour format, my God, help us all. It needs to feel like an extension of Dynamite, a second Dynamite, if you will, if that's the case. But yeah, you guys let me know what you think in the box below. What you think about the second show? What do you think about this move going into the next year for AEW, for both shows, but the second show debuting this year or summer? I want you guys' thoughts in the box below. Do yourself a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. Peace.